Hello again. I'm sure that viewers will be aware that the prevailing ideology in the West holds that there are really no such things as human races, and that the very idea that humanity is divided into different populations with distinctive features is a dangerous falsehood, devised in the 19th century to justify slavery and colonialism. I thought it might be interesting to look at a book published by the British Museum in 1968. It's called Races of Man, and it was published by the British Museum. And I want to think a little about what was accepted by the scientific community until a very short time ago, and ask ourselves what has changed. Well, actually, not much has changed. You'll see this book is concerned with things such as blood groups and other biochemical characters. There's a lot of stuff about enzymes. There's a lot of stuff about skeletal features. There's a lot of stuff about fat distribution in the Khoisan people. In fact, it's a thoroughgoing survey of the differences between various human groups. It was published by the Museum of Mankind, which was devoted to anthropology. It was a branch of the British Museum. It used to be behind the Burlington Arcade off Piccadilly. Some older viewers might remember visiting that. It's closed down now. The exhibitions there have been moved to the British Museum itself. That book says that humanity is a single species, which is true. And it goes on to say that that species is divided up into various types, which share physical and genetic characteristics. Things such as fat distribution on the body and frequency of different blood groups. There's a chapter on biochemistry, which says precisely the same as any modern textbook. The evidence cited here in that book has not changed since 1968, and nor have the listed physical characteristics. What has changed is what we are prepared to say out loud and the words which we use to describe things. There is, of course, a tendency these days for people to find it offensive to compare humans with animals, but the truth of the matter is we are animals, and the same rules apply to humans as to any other species when you're trying to classify them. For instance, there is only one species of tiger, but various types, such as the Bengal tiger, Sumatran tiger, white tiger, Siberian tiger, and so on. They can all interbreed, but each type has distinctive features, physical features. The same thing applies to red foxes, of course. It's also the case with humans, and why anybody would find this idea alarming or distasteful is utterly beyond me. I hope that this is perfectly clear. Just as there are different kinds of tiger, all of which belong to a single species, so too there are different types of human, all of whom similarly belong to a single species. This seems to me to be a simple enough concept. Of course, this plain statement has led in the past to my being accused of comparing black people with animals. In fact, all humans, black and white, Indian and Chinese, Inuit, Caribbeans, they're all animals. We are animals. It is possible to talk about the differences between human populations, just as we can discuss the circumstances which gave rise to different tiger populations. Things such as geographical isolation and climate make different tigers into different types. It has made the Siberian tiger different from the Bengal tiger. One developed in a hot country with lots of trees, and the other in a cold territory. In just the same way, some human groups developed in very hot and sunny parts of the world, while others, such as the Inuit, developed in cold and snowy places. I think that the difficulty is that many people who declare themselves opposed to racism feel that this kind of classification means that we must have a hierarchy of human types, which one kind must be better than the other. I don't see that at all. It may, of course, be so, but it's hardly necessary to believe that in order to talk about the classification of human types. If I were to ask which is superior, Bengal tigers or Siberian tigers, people would look at me very oddly because the very question is meaningless. The Bengal tiger is better for living in hot forests, and the Siberian tiger is better for living in places where there's snow. I think that to try and deny this and to pretend that all human types are identical as regards their skeletal structure, skull shape, hair type, blood group, and enzymes is foolish. To claim that these differences are social constructions may be very fashionable, but it's also wrong-headed and unscientific nonsense.